Hi, everyone. I just wanted to give you kind of a brief introduction to the differences between UX and UI design. Both are sort of emerging fields and very much part of the graphic design process in the 21st century. Graphic designers often find themselves working with UX designers and UI designers, or actually kind of going into the field themselves. It's a really hot job market right now with lots of growth. So UX design, let's talk about it a little bit. What is UX design? User experience design is the sum of a person's emotions and behaviors when interacting with a product, system, or service. And some of the goals are straightforward experience, easy to complete their task, smooth, clunky. So that's how you would sort of evaluate UX. UI, on the other hand, is what you use to interact with the product. Focus on the user's visual experience, screen and visual interactive touch points, layouts, color, and typography. So it's all about the look and feel. The history of UX design, Donald Norman in 1993, he wrote this book called The Design of Everyday Things. And he invented the term UX because he thought human interface and usability were too narrow. And he wanted to cover all aspects of the person's experience with a system, including industrial design, graphics, the interface, the physical interaction, and the manual. So key phases in UX design. So first, you're going to think about research, carrying out research. Then you're going to analyze the findings. Often, and you've done this in your logo project already, but you would define a user persona, and then you would map out the user's flow, and then you would create wireframes and prototypes. Then you would do user testing, and you'd actually have a focus group that you did the tests with, and then you would hand the design over for visual design and development. So user research is a user-centered approach, and it's what your users need, how they think, how they behave. So methods include initial research for a new product feature, competitors research, surveys and interviews with users, as well as the stakeholders. So user research analysis, affinity mapping, is where you organize your research and start to look for common themes and patterns. And the end result is potentially a wall with themes that can be used to draw meaningful insights from your data. So it's really thinking about all the possibilities of where the user would go as they navigated the product. A user persona is a fictional but realistic representation of a set of target users based on their goals, needs, and behaviors. And this is all discovered during the research phase. So for example, a user persona here is Jane Smith. She's 32. She's a single mother of 2 living in London. She describes herself as a foodie. She has an education, a BA in marketing from Kingston University, writes her own food blog. She's a regular user of social media channels. And then it specifies her needs and goals to easily manage her daily tasks, blogs, and photos. Would love to become a full-time food writer. So user flow depicts the path of a user like Jane. So first we kind of have to figure out who the user is, and creating a persona helps us do that. And then we need to figure out how can we help our persona, in this case Jane, achieve her goal, such as making an appointment via calendar map or completing an online purchase. So one way we do that is with wireframes and prototypes. A wireframe, it's kind of like a blueprint. It demonstrates the layout of the design and how it will function. And a prototype is essentially a scaled down version of the final product, a simulation or sample version, which allows you to test your ideas and designs before you get them developed. So user testing, very important. It's important to test your designs on real users to get authentic feedback from those who will actually be using the product. And in the business perspective, you'll catch any major design flaws before going into development phase. So this will save a tremendous amount of money and time so that you don't develop a product that isn't useful. So usability testing, it's a technique used to really evaluate how intuitive and user-friendly a particular design is. Iteration is a process of continuous testing and improving. So these are just some terms you should understand. Also, soft skills are important. Soft skills are a combination of personal attributes and social and communication skills. Both are important for UX and UI designers. Communication and empathy are important qualities to have when thinking and strategizing about UX and UI. Important hard skills. You have to have technical and functional skills required by a job. So with user research, you're going to carry out user testing, interviews, surveys, questionnaires. You're going to think about information architecture, where you'll organize information in a most effective, accessible, and meaningful way. And then wireframing and prototyping, you will have to quickly communicate and test your ideas. And there's lots of tools to use, especially for things like wireframing and prototyping. There's softwares that can help you do this. So you would be able to use these tools to do it effectively. So good UX versus bad UX. So there's a few examples here. This is a really obvious example. So if you're answering a questionnaire online, what year were you born? Obviously the bad is where the all years are there. It's going to take you time to find that year, whereas the good, a really easy drop-down menu. Too many options presented in a non-scannable format, options consolidated into one familiar interaction. And then you have 2 ways to search flights, one through Chipmunk and one through American Airlines. So the good is the easy way, where there is only the most relevant and necessary inputs are presented to the user in a compact, easy to understand way. And adjusting search result formats and other search options are presented only after the search has been initiated. And the bad includes inputs that aren't required until after the search has been initiated. No opportunities to consolidate form fields have been made. Questions are used to segment the form unnecessarily. So UI, color, illustration, photography, typography, icons, visual design, graphics, and UX, usability testing, psychology, interaction design, content strategy, wireframes, prototyping, information architecture, understanding the problem, design, and user research. So they go together, and they're becoming increasingly important in the design industry, especially with all the mobile devices, all the new technology. And so as a graphic designer, you really need to understand these two industries, fields, and understand that you may be at some point participating in them or actually becoming a UI or UX designer.